Ever notice how some people seem to get everything they want, respect, admiration, opportunities, and they don't even break a sweat? They make bold moves, sometimes even harsh ones, and somehow walk away more respected, not less. Meanwhile, you're out here being kind, being fair, trying to do good, and still getting overlooked. Let's cut to the core. The world doesn't just reward kindness, it rewards strategic kindness. That's the uncomfortable truth most people don't want to admit. See, we're taught that being kind is enough, that if you keep doing the right thing, people will recognize it. But they don't, at least not in the way you expect. Why? Because kindness without direction, without strategy, often disappears into the background. It becomes forgettable. That's why calculated compassion matters more than ever. And no, it doesn't make you fake, it makes you intentional. That knee-jerk reaction that says, calculated kindness sounds manipulative, is exactly why most people never fully step into their power. It's not about faking it, it's about being precise. Let's get real for a second. When was the last time your random act of kindness truly changed your life? When did helping someone just because you felt like it bring you lasting influence or deeper respect? It probably made you feel good for a minute. But did it actually shift the relationship? Did it shift power? Or did it vanish like a passing breeze? Here's what people don't realize. Kindness without strategy is like showing up to a war zone with a squirt gun. It might be noble, but it's not going to move mountains. Machiavelli understood this over 500 years ago. Most people only know him for the phrase, "the ends justify the means." But his real power wasn't about cruelty. It was about understanding human nature. And one of his most overlooked ideas is this: calculated kindness, compassion applied at the right time, to the right person, in the right way, is one of the most effective tools for influence, respect, and power. You're tired of being overlooked, right? Tired of giving and giving while others take advantage of your nature? This isn't about becoming cold, it's about becoming clear. It's about mastering the deeper mechanics of kindness so it actually works. Because if we're being honest, most random kindness is just emotional self-soothing. It makes you feel good, but it doesn't change the situation. It doesn't create loyalty. It doesn't command respect. But when your kindness is intentional, when it's delivered with purpose, not just impulse, it sticks. It becomes memorable. It creates emotional imprint. That's the power of calculated kindness. Let's take it deeper, because Machiavelli didn't just say, be strategic, he broke it down. And one of his smartest observations? Human memory doesn't hold on to single random events. It remembers patterns. One kind gesture, gone in a week. But a consistent series of well-timed, impactful actions, that leaves a mark. That's how trust, respect, and influence are built. Think about your own life. Who do you remember most? The person who did something nice once, out of nowhere? Or the person who showed up exactly when you needed them? Who knew what you were going through, understood your struggle, and gave the right support at the right time? That second person. They weren't just being kind, they were being smart. That's what calculated kindness looks like. It's not about manipulation, it's about effectiveness. But society sells us this myth that kindness should always be spontaneous, that if you think too hard about it, it becomes fake. And that's complete nonsense. Real kindness, true compassion, sometimes requires more effort, not less. It means reading the situation, paying attention to timing, understanding the other person's values, and knowing that how and when you show up matters just as much as what you do. Calculated kindness operates on three powerful forces. The first is psychological timing. The same kind act can either be forgotten or life-changing, depending on when it's delivered. Machiavelli said, benefits should be conferred gradually. In modern terms, that means people value kindness more when it comes during pain, struggle, or vulnerability. Not when everything's fine. Kindness during chaos, that's what sticks. You want to make an impact? Pay attention to timing. The second force, strategic targeting. Most people are lazy with their kindness. They give what's easy to give, like a generic compliment or a quick favor. But real influence comes from giving what actually matters to that person. What do they care about? What do they complain about? What do they wish for? That's your target. When your kindness speaks directly to someone's unmet need or hidden desire, it hits different. It doesn't just feel nice, It builds connection, loyalty, respect. And the third force is contrast. People don't notice what's constant. If you're nice all the time, your kindness becomes white noise. But when you combine warmth with firmness, kindness with standards, you stand out. Sometimes the most powerful act of compassion is saying no, setting boundaries, holding someone accountable. Because if you're kind all the time, people will start to expect it, then ignore it, and eventually resent it. But kindness that comes after discipline, that lands, that sticks, that's remembered. Calculated kindness isn't about being cold. It's about being impactful. It's about knowing when to give, how much to give, and who actually deserves it. That's what builds influence. That's what earns respect. That's what shifts relationships. And if you've ever felt like your compassion was invisible, like people were walking all over your good intentions, it's probably because your kindness wasn't backed by strategy. Now, let's deal with the elephant in the room, the word that makes people flinch: manipulation. Isn't all this just a fancy way of controlling people? Isn't thinking so carefully about your kindness a little calculated? The answer depends entirely on your intention. If you're being kind just to get something out of people, if you're using compassion to control, deceive, or dominate, that's manipulation. But if your goal is to actually help, to build real connection, to make your kindness more effective so it has long-term impact, then that's strategy, not manipulation. Think of it like this. A doctor doesn't throw random pills at patients just to be nice. They study the case, they measure the dose, they time it right. That's not cold, that's responsible. Same thing with kindness. Strategy doesn't remove your heart, it adds precision to it. The most ethical people aren't those who act on impulse. They're the ones who care enough to be intentional. And today, in a world that will take everything you offer without blinking, calculated kindness is your armor. It keeps you from burning out. It keeps you from being used. It lets you be generous without being drained. It's not just a survival tactic. It's a way to thrive without losing your soul. Let me break it down into 5 clear reasons why you need to start using calculated kindness right now. 1. It saves your energy. Random kindness is like spraying water all over a field. It feels good, but most of it evaporates. Calculated kindness is a focused stream. It hits where it's needed most and actually puts out fires. 2. It creates lasting influence. People don't remember how many nice things you did. They remember how those things made them feel. When kindness is timed and tailored, it creates emotional impact that lasts. 3. It prevents exploitation. When you give strategically, you teach people to value what you offer. You create a rhythm that builds respect instead of entitlement. That's how you stop people from draining you dry. 4. It builds real respect. The world doesn't admire those who bend endlessly. It respects those who are kind by choice, not compulsion. When your kindness is strong and clear, people don't see you as soft, they see you as powerful. 5. It actually works. This is the biggest one. Calculated kindness gets results. It deepens relationships, it opens doors, it changes lives. Not because you're faking anything, but because you're finally being effective. But here's your warning. There is a dark side. If you ever start feeling contempt for the people you're helping, if you're hiding your real motives, if you're keeping score or using kindness to dodge hard conversations, you've crossed into manipulation. That's not strength, that's insecurity in disguise. True calculated kindness doesn't weaken people, it empowers them. It doesn't control, it connects. It doesn't demand attention, it earns it. It's the art of giving in a way that elevates both you and the person you're giving to. That's what separates amateurs from masters. Masters don't just act from the heart, they direct their heart with wisdom. They blend sincerity with precision. And in doing so, they become unforgettable. So, here's the final choice. You can keep being kind the way you've always been, randomly, endlessly, with no return. Or you can start applying kindness like a true craftsman, with timing, with focus, with contrast. One path feels good, the other path does good. And in a world that confuses niceness with weakness, calculated kindness might just be your sharpest edge. If this challenged you, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, and share it with someone who's tired of being kind and tired of being ignored. Because we don't need more empty gestures. We need people who know how to make their kindness count. Be kind. But for your own sake, be smart about it.